Hello, and thank you for watching this May 18th weather update, brought to you by Agrible, the makers of Morning Farm Report. My name is Eric Snodgrass, and I'm a senior atmospheric scientist and co-founder of Agrible. This past week saw yet another large weather system push through the central United States. Seen here is the National Radar Loop from WeatherTap.com. The good news is that the precipitation was falling on Sunday in places that desperately needed it, like California, Nevada, the Dakotas, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, even though some of these regions received some snow. Over the last 7 days, there has been an abundance of rain in the central United States. Flooding is still a major problem across parts of Texas and Oklahoma, but for most of the Corn Belt, this rain has been well-timed as much as the U.S. crop has just emerged. A few things to notice. One is that the corn planted in Wisconsin largely missed out on the rain. 2, I am concerned over the cotton production in Georgia, as the last 30 days have been very, very dry there. 3, parts of the Intermountain West, Arizona, New Mexico, Oregon, Washington, and even Southern California received much needed precipitation in the past week. It's not enough to end the drought in some of these locations, but it certainly helps. Before I move on, we at Agrible would like to make sure that you know about our free app called the Pocket Rain Gauge. It is available to download for free on Apple devices, and it is a useful tool for monitoring daily rainfall across your fields. In addition, field-specific rainfall data in our Morning Farm Report is free until December 31st, and it provides rainfall measurements for yesterday, the last 7 days, the last 30 days, as well as your year-to-date totals. Plus, our data analysis techniques allow you to compare your rainfall totals to other fields in your county, crop reporting district, and state. Try it out all free today. Well, here's the Drought Monitor I showed last week. And here is the most recent release. As I toggle back and forth, you can see the heavy rain and thunderstorm activity in the Central Plains has really helped alleviate the drought, especially in the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma. No big changes out west, but this is technically their dry season for most of the West, so little improvement is expected anyway. Turning our attention back to the Corn Belt, here is a map that shows the winds circulating around the large low-pressure system that caused much of the unsettled weather in the central United States over the weekend. Notice how the northwest side of the circulation is bringing air southward from central Canada. As a result, the northern parts of the Corn Belt will miss out on making large gains on growing degree days for the start of this week, as temperatures fall behind this front. Temperatures are expected to rebound toward the end of the week, but another large low-pressure system will emerge from the Rockies midweek. So by midweek, another trough in the jet stream will emerge in the mountains and kick off another low-pressure system. Rain will spread across the southern and central Great Plains and add to their already saturated soils. The severe threat will largely be confined to West Texas through midweek, so no large-scale severe weather outbreaks are forecast. Here's a quick look at the next 5 days of precipitation. Once again, Texas and Arkansas are under the gun for heavy rain, while the northern parts of the Corn Belt will have a relatively dry week. The 2015 plant is nearly finished for most states. These planting progress numbers will be updated later on Monday afternoon, but here's my assessment of the current conditions. The Dakotas, Minnesota, and Wisconsin have been struggling with drought despite recent rains and snows. There have also been repeated cool periods in this region, which aren't ideal for the start of the 2015 growing season. The eastern part of the Corn Belt got a late start due to excessive rains early, while corn in Texas, Colorado, Nebraska, and Kansas have had intermittent wet periods, and some locations are still battling with flooded fields. However, Illinois and Iowa have had regular rainfall in several days in the upper 70s through mid-80s, which has started these two states off very well for the 2015 growing season. Overall, the heart of the Corn Belt is doing well, and total production will likely be high again for 2015. I would once again like to talk about El Nino. As I have been forecasting, a moderate to strong El Nino event is taking shape across the equatorial Pacific Ocean. The top animation shows the warmer than normal sea surface temperature anomalies for the past few months. This warm swath of water is the signature of El Nino. In the bottom panel, we can see the forecast for El Nino conditions by 7 long-range forecast models through the end of the year. Nearly every model is forecasting above normal sea surface temperatures, which indicates the strengthening of this El Nino event. Historically, El Nino has had its greatest impact on U.S. weather in the winter. However, strong summer El Nino events have happened, and we at Agrible want to give you some insight into El Nino's impact on the U.S. growing season. In general, El Nino conditions in summer are weakly positively correlated with corn yields. However, not all El Nino events have produced great yields across the United States. This graph shows us in black corn yield in percent of average for each year since 1948. These data have had the upward trend in corn yield removed. You can see great yield years like 1972, 1994, 2004, 2009, and 2014. We can also see some of the tough years like 1983, 1988, and 2012. In the red columns are years in which there were El Nino conditions in June, July, and August. In white columns, below the zero line, we have the opposite of El Nino, La Nina. If you step back and look at this graph, you can see that many of the good yield years happened during summer El Nino conditions. In fact, with the exception of 1983 and 2012, most really low yield years happened when La Nina conditions are present. Please remember that the correlation is not strong, but generally speaking, El Nino years are better than La Nina years for corn yield in the United States. However, relying on just one weather event like El Nino to forecast a whole season is not wise, which is why we at Agrible use a multi-model, multi-variable approach to long-term weather forecasting. For our latest yield predictions from field level to your county, your state, and the whole U.S., be sure to check out Morning Farm Report. As we close out this video, let's take another longer-term look. On the left is the precipitation forecast for June through August, as provided by the National Multi-Model Ensemble. Notice how this forecast model is calling for above-average precipitation across much of the United States. This is very consistent with and correlates well with the strengthening El Nino in the Pacific. And while we will deal with localized flooding this growing season, the forecast for above-average rainfall bodes well for the 2015 crop. We still need to keep an eye on the drought in parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and the Dakotas. And these 3-month forecasts may not capture the regional variability in rainfall very well, and the current drought in these regions is forecast by many to hang on through the season. On the right is the June through August temperature forecast. Near normal temperatures are forecast through much of the Corn Belt, with slightly cooler temperatures forecast for the southern part, and slightly warmer temperatures forecast for the north. If any heat stress shows up in the long-term forecast, we will be the first to let you know. As always, we at Agrible will bring you the latest and best weather forecast information through our Morning Farm Report, so that you can efficiently plan your operations. We thank you for your attention and hope you look forward to our next weather video update. Thank you.